America Chavez was there when James Rhodes died. He went down fighting one of the worst villains out there, and Miss America has seen a lot. If one day she has to die, this would be how she'd like to go, protecting people she cared about. At Rhodey's funeral, Kate Bishop is surprised to find America alone, without her team. Kate wants to talk, but this whole thing is making America uncomfortable. Sincere, consoling Kate Bishop is the worst human being ever, and, wanting to bring her sarcastic friend back, Chavez suggests they leave. In spite of Hawkeye's concerns, she agrees to go. It's better than being alone. Besides, any excuse to get away from here is a good one. While a preacher begins speaking about Rhodey, Monica can't focus on what he's saying. She can't concentrate on anything these days. She has to get out of here. Blue Marvel will want to talk to her, but Monica just can't right now. People are the last thing she needs. People die. They get let down. They ground you and make you love, and then you break their heart. She couldn't save James, and then she just feels like she's falling apart. She has to concentrate just to hold herself together, but lately, she's been wondering if she should just let it all go and fade out of existence, like a dwindling star. But she won't, not today. This isn't the end of her story or Rhodey's. She can't let that be. She'll save them next time. She promises. Misty Knight is no stranger to funerals, but this one hits her hard. She has trouble figuring out why, until she realizes she is James. They were both two ordinary human beings given extraordinary tech, and used it to fight titans. One good hit could have finished them off. So she reflects on her own life, her relationships, her actions, and what matters. She doesn't know how Rhodey felt when he died, but she knows she doesn't want to go down regretting actions not taken. It's time for Misty Knight to be a hero again. She thanks James for reminding her of this. Storm wants to hear James' friends talk of his accomplishments. A man with no powers who put himself in the greatest of dangers and triumphed so many times. The man who, in spite of everything, was Tony Stark's best friend. She wants to relish in tales of greatness, but this happy thought is interrupted when she sees her ex-husband disapprove of the smile that crosses her face. Suddenly, she is happy she is no longer a queen. She is free to drink and talk with her friends after the funeral, and can go back home to her family when all this is done. But she doesn't. Instead, she travels to Rhodey's home, Philadelphia. She takes in the sights, enjoys a baseball game, and meets some wonderful people. She loves this city, if for no other reason than for producing a man as fine as James Rhodes. Wherever he may be now, she takes one last moment to think of the man with fondness. Meanwhile, America and Kate travel the multiverse to see other versions of James. One leads the Avengers as Iron Man after Tony Stark died. Another is retired and became mayor of Philadelphia. But America thinks this makes her point. One James died. She hates that she couldn't save him. But on an infinite number of worlds, an infinite number of Jameses are still out there. Kate wonders if that's how America sees everyone, as just interchangeable, replaceable people. America reassures her friend that this Rhodey had a noble death, and it's things like that which always bring her back to this particular Earth. Kate asks who else the woman cares about, but, well, America's not that easy. Prisoner number 24653 was no James Rhodes. He was a blamer. He could grow as tall as a building, but he thought so small, which is why he ended up here. But he won't admit that. 24653 watched his uncle die at the hands of an artificial Thor during the First Civil War. That was tragic. He blamed the Avengers and lashed out, but he could never see that it was his fault that he ended up in prison. He thought small, so he was small. That's what Officer Moore thought, but he knows now he was wrong. During a riot, Tom Foster distinguished himself. His powers were returned. He could have escaped. Instead, he saved dozens of lives, hundreds if you consider what those monsters would have done if they had escaped. And now, he sees Tom for what he is, for what he will one day be, a true hero. In court, he tells the judge that Tom Foster does not belong in prison. They take this under advisement, and weeks later, Officer Moore is happy to shake the hand of a free man. Moore asks if Tom has any big plans now that he is out. He does. They are giant. Nick Fury is dead. He's gone underground. He's had to improvise and call in a few favors. You might have heard of Mark Spector. He has multiple personalities that converge into a singular being known as the Moon Knight. Nick Fury doesn't know him well, but he knows the man can be unpredictable. So nobody would bat an eye, really, if he randomly attacked a well-known S.H.I.E.L.D. donor, Elton Blake. It turns out Blake not only supports S.H.I.E.L.D., but several other organizations like AIM and Hydra. He's too well connected politically to be exposed, but Fury is now dead, and dead men answer to no one. But Nick can't be seen without losing his cover. Mark Spector is currently in an insane asylum, so he won't get in trouble over this. He has the perfect alibi. Blake is relieved to see it's actually Fury chasing him because everyone knows that Moon Knight is a complete lunatic. That being said, he's surprised to see Fury alive, but claims he has no interest in harming S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick presents evidence to the contrary, and suddenly, the story changes. The leader has shown them the way. Fury has to die, so S.H.I.E.L.D. will live. He knows that Nick has no chance of stopping this, so he happily gives the man the location of this leader. Because Blake has faith in a better tomorrow. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is my recap and review of Civil War II, Choosing Sides number 2. So, with another anthology comic, we'll break up my review by story. First up is the War Machine segment, written by Jeremy Whiteley, and with art by Marguerite Sauvage. Out of the 3 parts, this segment definitely got the most mixed reaction out of me. I do like parts of this. They picked some interesting characters to focus on, and there were some nice moments. I liked Storm's part when she went to Philly, and I enjoyed seeing the other versions of Rudy. It was a somewhat touching send-off for the character, but I do have some issues with it. These don't feel like people who were overly close to Rudy, nor did their stories really offer all that much in terms of being touching or particularly insightful. I've seen this sort of thing done better before, like with Cap after the first Civil War following Logan's death a couple years ago, but it feels like they did a much better job with those than what we got here. The comic is sincere at times and it can be very touching, but a lot of it rings hollow. A lot of the dialogue features obvious statements or meaningless nonsense, which leads to the story as the whole feeling kind of dull, or at least not that great. It's morose or weighty without any drama or enough other content to make it interesting. I did like the art, that's the best part of this segment, and I do like the characters involved, but on the whole it's a lot of them crying and grieving without much else to offer us as an audience, nor are we really given a reason to care about any of this. Then there's the Goliath part written by Brandon Thomas and drawn by Marco Rudy. I'm a big fan of this one. It's vivid and intense, but a nice, hopeful story. It's short, simple, and sweet. I like how the guard went from viewing Foster as just another inmate who didn't deserve a second chance, to a hero that didn't need to be in prison, and that change felt natural. It felt earned. So it's a bright, hopeful, and well-drawn comic that nicely ties into the first Civil War as well. It was pretty good stuff on the whole. And Nick Fury's story continues under the pen of Declan Shalvey. I'll never get used to pronouncing that name, by the way. It was nice seeing that big Moon Knight fight, even if it wasn't really Mark Spector there, and I did enjoy this comic. It was a good little twist, and the story continues without much fanfare, but I'm still interested in it. So in conclusion, we have one story I really liked, one story I mostly liked, and one I didn't really enjoy on the whole. I think the War Machine part is good enough that the comic is still worth reading, kind of. But yeah, I'm not going to pretend this was perfect or that I totally enjoyed what I read here. Make of that what you will, though I'm not sure whether or not it really merits a recommendation. Still, thanks for watching just the same, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.